Namaste, myself Dr. Vishwesh. In this part, we will continue with the post-operative care and management of a case of cesarean section. As soon as the patient is received in the post-operative ward, patient is kept in supine position with foot end elevation. The IV fluids are started. The prescribed antimicrobials are given after the test dose and patient is monitored continuously. Patient is observed for the features of reversal from the anesthesia and any of the immediate post-operative complications if they are present, they are immediately observed and attended. After the surgery, the blood pressure, the pulse, the respiratory rate, the oxygen saturation is monitored continuously by the monitor. Any amount of heavy bleeding per vaginum is also observed. Urine output for the fluid management is also considered. The positioning of the patient is also very important because during this period there may be chances of vomiting and the aspiration may be there. That's why the patient must not be left unattended during this period. Then regarding the fluid requirement of a healthy individual. In a normal case, a 60 kg patient needs 100 ml fluid per hour. That means in a day, he may require approximately 2.5 to 3 liters. For every rise of 10 kg, you require approximately 240 to 250 ml excess. Or else in other way, one may also calculate in the form of an healthy individual requires 30 ml per kg per day. That also comes the same, that is 2.5 to 3 liters of fluid per day. So during the post-operative period, an individual may require approximately 1 liter of normal saline and 1 liter of dextrose 5% and approximately 500 to 1 liter of Ringer's lactate. The assessment of hydration is done clinically with the help of assessment of pulse, blood pressure and skin turgor. Or else one may also assess the hydration based upon the urine output. So if the hydration is adequate, at least one should get 0.5 ml per kg per hour urine output. That means in an healthy individual of 60 kg, one must get 30 to 50 ml of urine output if you are properly hydrating the patient. Post-operative pain management is very important. In cases after general anesthesia, the patient may have severe pain. So in this condition, one may require opioid analgesics. And if the cases are under spinal anesthesia, because of the drug effect, they may not require opioid analgesics. Rather, non-opioid drugs may be comfortable. The drug route may be either intravenous or intramuscular, that depending upon the conditions. If the patient is under epidural anesthesia, the drugs may be top up along with epidural catheter. Once the patient shifted to oral medicine, then the analgesics may be shifted to non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. If the analgesia is inadequate, the patient will enter into stress. By this, there will be hypertension, tachycardia, gastritis, and electrolyte imbalance or hyperglycemia. So because of this, during immediate post-operative period, at least for 48 hours, prompt analgesics must be given to the patient. Now, what are the common complaints during the post-operative case of a cesarean? So most common is the low urine output and like the pyrexia, hypoxia, different type of infections, distension, deep vein thrombosis, breast complications. So like this, there will be various complaints or complications expected during the post-operative period of a cesarean. During the immediate post-operative period, usually the urine output is less in compared to the fluid input. The peripheral vasodilatation due to the anesthetic effect is the main reason for the low urine output. The second important reason is the surgical stress. Because of the surgical stress, it stimulates the adrenals, which leads to the retention of the salt and water. The decreased urine output may also due to the low fluid input or inadequate hydration. It may also due to the increased insensible loss like in hot climates. The decrease in urine output may be due to low preload fluid input or the surgery which is done in dehydrated condition. In case of severe PPH also there may be decreased urine output. The accidental ligation of the ureter may one more reason for the reason of diminished urine output. One more common complaint after the surgery is fever. Usually the fever may occur in first or second day, that is mainly due to the reactionary condition. Surgery is a trauma, the tissue trauma leads to fever. The other reason for the fever in post-operative cesarean cases is breast complications. Either breast engorgement or the infection in the breast tissue may be the reason for fever. The third or fourth day, the fever may be due to the surgical site infections. The other reason for fever in the post-operative period is either urinary tract infection or the respiratory tract infections. Or rarely it may be due to the endometrial causes or the infection of the endometrium or the peritoneal infections. The other reason for fever is the hospital-acquired infections. If the fever persists for a prolonged period, then one must rule out the causes like the breast abscess or vascular complications like the thrombophlebitis or deep vein thrombosis by clinical examination or investigation. The culture of the fluids like the urine, wound swab, or blood may also be considered for the diagnosis. The routine blood investigation and the specific investigations of the fever must be done to diagnose the cases of fever, and appropriate treatment must be given accordingly. One more complaint during the post-operative period is nausea and vomiting. Immediately after the surgery, the vomiting is mainly due to the drug effect of the anesthetic drugs. Or if the opioid analgesics are used, that may also induce nausea and vomiting. The excessive handling of the bowel loops during the surgery may also be one of the reasons for vomiting or nausea during post-operative period. The surgery which is done in full stomach condition, that may be also one of the important reasons for vomiting. During the post-operative period, the intestinal motility is observed by auscultation. Some amount of the distension is commonly noted during first or second day of the post-operative period. It is suggestive of the onset of the bowel movements. The persistence of the distension may be due to electrolyte imbalance. It may also be as a result of anemia. It may be also seen in case of hemoperitoneum or seen in cases where the bowel loop is handled vigorously or where the surgery is taken prolonged time. Pain in the shoulder is one common complaint in post-operative period. So either due to pneumoperitoneum or if the packing is not done during the cesarean section, the blood or amniotic fluid may enter into the right or left paracolic gutter, and that will reach to the diaphragmatic area, that will irritate the diaphragm and that will transfer pain to the shoulders. So that will be the reason for the pain in the shoulder in the post-operative period. Vascular complications is one more important issue in the post-operative cases. As pregnancy is a condition of hypercoagulation, there is more chances of developing vascular conditions like deep vein thrombosis or thrombophlebitis. Especially in cases of elderly patients or patients who are obese or patients with a history of varicosities or patients with late ambulation, they are more prone for developing deep vein thrombosis. To prevent the deep vein thrombosis or other vascular complication, The prophylactic measures like early ambulation, the proper hydration, foot end elevation, or the pressure stockings that is advised to these type of high risk cases. Surgical site infection is one more unfavorable condition during postoperative care. The cases are usually the history of repeat surgeries or patient with anemia where the chances of infection is more. The infection usually involves the skin and subcutaneous tissue, and there will be the features of local infection. There will be purulent discharge from the surgical site, there will be raised local temperature and redness and swelling, and increased pain or tenderness is noted at that particular area. The wound swab culture is taken and appropriate antimicrobial is selected according to the results. The patients with a history of severe degree of antepartum hemorrhage or patient with hypertensive disorders like eclampsia, they are having more chances of entering into a phase of acute renal failure. To prevent the acute renal failure, the early identification of high risk conditions and the timely volume replacement prior to surgery, it is very important. During the post-operative period, the urine output is monitored regularly, and if possible, all the nephrotoxic drugs must be avoided during the post-operative care. Shock is a grave condition in post-operative care. In post-cesarean section, the hypovolemic shock is the most common one. The reason for the hypovolemic shock is the atonic PPH. Sometimes it may also due to the concealed hemorrhage. The inadequate fluid administration may also be the reason for hypovolemic shock. If we consider the septic type of shock, mainly the ascending infection into the genital tract and peritonitis is the reason for septic shock. Occasionally, some may have anaphylactic reactions to the antimicrobials that may also end up in anaphylactic shock. So that will end up in acute renal failure. So shock is an emergency condition in any postoperative condition. Incontinence of the urine is seen in cases where trial labor is prolonged. Prior to surgery, if trial is given for normal labor, due to trauma to the urethra and the bladder base, there will be incontinence of the urine during the postoperative period. If there will be continuous trickling of urine that is seen from the vagina, then one must suspect the vesicovaginal fistula. It may be seen immediately after the surgery, after the removal of catheter, then you must suspect the bladder injury. If the leakage appears after about 1 or 2 weeks, then it is mainly due to the injury that is leading to the necrosis and then sloughing of the necrosed area, then the fistula formation. Urinary tract infection is a common infective condition in post-op cases. The repeated catheterization during the trial labor or prolonged catheterization during the post-operative period is the reason for urinary tract infection. Sometimes the failure to follow the strict aseptic measures during catheterization, that may be also the reason for urinary tract infection. So these are the most common complications and surgical conditions that will be seen in case of post-cesarean cases.